There is an epidemic happening in the world that you can help fix. What lengths would you go to protect children and teens, their innocence, their mental health, and in extreme cases, even their lives? Would you do it? About 5 years ago, I went to see a speaker named Colin Kartchner, whose message is Save the Children. The things he talked about that night have shaped how I have taught my children and how careful I am on social media. He often spoke to large audiences of families, children, and teens, and even adults to help get this message across. His platform was to not allow children to have social media, and he even went as far to say not to give them smartphones, because when you do, you're opening them up to a world of things that they will see that they probably shouldn't, inappropriate things that will come in. The average age for children to see pornography is 8 years old. Are you ready for your children to see that? Some other hidden dangers on the internet, and specifically social media, are cyberbullying, predators, tracking, unmonitored interactions, and toxic perfectionism. Studies have also observed links between high levels of social media use and depression or anxiety symptoms. A Reuters article from 2011 tells us that 1 in 12 teens self-harm. Colin Kartchner, in his speech in 2018, tells us that 1 in 4 teens self-harm. So how did we go from 1 in 12 to 1 in 4 in 7 years? There's a Moran study that talks about how it's a combination of hormonal changes and development of the brain, with the prefrontal cortex not being developed when they're teenagers. That's not something that we have control over, but what can we control with our children? We'll get back to that in just a minute. Teens are using TikTok, which is a popular social media app, to diagnose themselves and their mental illnesses. Some are embracing ineffective and inappropriate treatments. Colin Kartchner also talks about toxic perfectionism, which is when children and adults, when we see all the highlight reels and all the good things that people are posting on their social media, and it makes us see all these things that we don't have, or maybe our lives just, they don't seem as fun or as exciting. Teens tend to get what is called FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. Teddy Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Our teens are less happy because of all this comparison that they see online and in social media. In 2019, School Crime Supplement to the National Crime Victimization Survey talks about how 16% of students in grades 9 through 12 experience cyberbullying. I work in a high school, and I would say 16% is probably a really low estimate, especially because that is 4 years ago. I see this happen almost on a daily basis, and teens and parents alike don't know how to handle the situation. Did you also know that social media apps such as Snapchat, and even our photos when we post them on social media, on different social media sites, things like that, that we're being tracked? If we do that, then people can find out where our children live, where they go to school, where we live, and if we're posting while we're on vacation, that leaves our homes vulnerable. YouTube is a great resource for learning and education, but did you know that children and teens spend so much time on YouTube watching people do things that they have lost that learning for themselves? They aren't as creative. They don't go out and do things like they used to. My husband is a welding teacher in our local high school, and he said that he has to go back to the very basics with his students that he didn't have to years ago. Simple things as learning how to read a tape measure, things like that normally they would have learned by this age. Despite teaching our children and enforcing rules such as we have in our home, you have to be careful. You have to ask your children. You have to have those conversations with them. And Listen to your instincts. Listen to the spirit. In 2020, I was working on our computer. It was kind of late at night, and my daughter was playing a game, and I thought, well, it's kind of strange that she's playing this late. So I asked her, who are you playing with? And she proceeded to tell me about this 21-year-old guy that lived in Vegas that had lost his job, lost his driver's license. And immediately we were so taken back. We were so worried. So we realized that he had been grooming her, and she didn't see the danger in it. And that was against our family rules. She was only supposed to play with people that she knew. And when we talked to her about it and said, you can't play with him ever again, she got really upset, really defensive, cried all night, cried the next day, and even went as far as to write us a letter to explain why she should be able to continue to play online with him. This is a scary situation, and obviously we didn't let this continue. But there are things that we can do as parents, that we can do as adults. We need to be the example. We need to make sure that we are following those safety precautions when we are online, that when we're posting, we are careful. And then we need to educate our children. Tell them that even though we're posting, these are some precautions that we're following, not posting where they go to school, or even posting them in their school shirts, things like that. We also need to decide ahead of time how we're going to handle the situations when our children come to us and need to talk to us about something that they have come across online or some scary situation that has come up. Another thing we can do is put our phone down. Spend time with our children. Let them see our eyes. Teach them different things. Teach them how to work. Create memories with your kids. Although it's hard to implement these steps, it is worth it. Let's all work on monitoring ourselves and helping our children and teens learn to live and be productive, to be successful. Our kids are amazing. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be loved. It's never too late to step up and be a parent.